Testing, testing.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That was really stupid. I apologize. I know it's a busy day for you today.
No, you're good. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Pretty good. We chatted on the MrGirl panel, and then
Yes.
you messaged me to chat about two things, right?
Yeah, I sure did. Yes. I I have been watching you for a little while now, and I haven't really seen you speak much on the subject of sex work in general or like the rise of OnlyFans and the impact of that. And I was interested in what your thoughts were.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, what do you want to chat about? Also, wait, can you boost your microphone volume at all? I've got you tuned up like to the max, and it's still pretty quiet. Is there a way you can like quadruple it, or?
Yes, let me see. Is that any better?
I don't know if the. Can you tap which mic you think you're using?
Is that not?
I think I maybe. Do you have another mic that's on right now? Like, is there a headset mic or something, or?
No, this is the only mic I have in this whole room.
Okay, that's it. It's just really quiet for some reason. I don't know why.
Wow, what a fail on my end
No, you're
for
good.
technology today.
Um, that is. I'll just boost you as much as I can. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll do it. Um. Okay. Yeah. Well, what did you wanna? What do you wanna start?
Um, I guess, do you do you have so there's kind of been like in recent years this sort of explosion of people identifying as sex workers and kind of taking great pride in that as an identity and being a little bit more public. And then on the other hand, there's sort of a big backlash about that. And I notice a lot of it is centered primarily around OnlyFans and kind of this online modeling and sex work community that's been created that way. There's always a lot of like conflicting views on Twitter and in different things of that nature. So I kind of was wondering where you stood on that.
Um. Well, that's a pretty
That's a very
that's
broad
a very
question, I
broad
guess.
question. Yeah, like I think I'm generally like pro sex work. There's a lot of cringy people on both sides of it, but I mean, what yeah, I mean, yeah, something give me something a little more specific, and I can hook in.
Sure, sure. For example, there's a lot of people saying on a more conservative side that girls who are jumping into OnlyFans and creating content and making a name for themselves in that way are doing themselves this major disservice. And we're going to see in the future people not being able to get jobs and people having these consequences that maybe they didn't really think about fully as a result.
Yeah, I mean that can definitely happen. I think that not unique to sex work, but like more broadly speaking, I think with the extensive liberalization of sex we've undergone, people are very quick to throw away all of the consequences, and I don't really mean pregnancy. I just mean like the emotional, the physical, in an attempt to like have this moral position where we like embrace it infinitely. And I think that's a little bit silly. I think sometimes people treat it a little bit not as much with the respect as they should, but yeah, I guess it depends on where you want to go from there. Like if you're like a random college person and you want to start an OnlyFans, there's probably going to be a lot of down the road consequences for you that probably don't make that okay. But it feels like people blow a lot of smoke up each other's ass. We're like, oh no, it's okay, everything should be okay, and everything's fine or whatever. And they might talk about like this idealized world, but in reality, like there might be some consequences down the road that make this not the greatest of ideas. But then on the other end, you've got conservatives that are against it, like in all shapes and sizes and in every form, which I think is silly too. So.
Yeah, I think that's definitely valid. I think that it should be something that people give consideration to. Like, are you wanting to create an online persona where that's something that's associated with you? Because
Mm-hmm.
whatever you do online is going to probably follow you into your future, right? Like, you're going to apply for a job and people can search your Twitter history or whatever they might want to.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think has been really beneficial is that it does create um, kind of a safer space for people who have decided that they do want to participate in the adult industry or in sex work in some way.
Hmm.
I think that it creates an opportunity for both the provider and the consumer to really explore kinks, curiosities, et cetera, in a way that is much lower risk than pre-online sex work for sure.
Yeah,
So
of course.
definitely,
It's like making some people will even take issue with calling OnlyFans sex work because it's so far removed from kind of like the ordinary life of like being whatever the nice sex like like prostitute, whatever
like a
yeah,
prostitute or
whatever the
like a
nice way of
full
saying that, or
service
escort
sex
work or
worker.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that involve like hand to hand physical contact. Um, I've seen that argument given that some women that like have worked prostitution before get upset that like women will sell pictures of their feet on OnlyFans and call themselves sex workers. Like you don't know what it's like or you have no idea. Like it's a totally different thing. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the as it exists today, online stuff is a lot safer than it would have been in the past. Yeah.
I think you touched on an interesting point there too, that even within the community, there's a lot of debate around like what does it mean to be a sex worker?
Hmm.
What qualifies you as such, right? Like if you're
Hmm.
just an OnlyFans model, is that really a sex worker?
Hmm.
Um, and so there's definitely some debate around that. I guess I use the term mainly for anybody who works in the sex industry or who's profiting off of sexuality for me. And then obviously within that, you're gonna have a million different varieties.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah.
What are your thoughts around legalization or decriminalization of prostitution?
This is like the one thing where it seems like decriminalizing it leads to some more problems. I imagine they could probably be dealt with, but I'm generally in favor of legalizing most things, like drugs and everything. I think in Portugal, where they've done it, it seems to be good. The only scary issue about legalizing sex work is it seems like when you do this in a lot of areas, the amount of sex trafficking increases. But I mean, like, that might just be a cost of legalizing a particular thing. There's going to be more illegal work around it, and that might be worth it, considering then that everybody that works under the umbrella of sex work now has like additional protections and safeties related to um, their job. It's always a hard one because when it comes to sex, nobody wants to ever accept any trade off ever. But there are trade offs, unfortunately, in every policy that we make. Like I remember when I'm sure you remember like back pages. Like
Yeah.
people were worried about like underage girls or stuff showing up on that, so they axed it. And it's like, okay, yeah, but there's a lot of people that use that site authentically or legitimately that like enjoy the protections that that site offered, and now that it's gone, they kind of have to just do like random shit, and it's kind of scary now. So yeah, it's a matter of
Yeah,
figuring out a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. No, you can finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just a matter of figuring out like the trade-offs, what's worth what.
For sure. I think in relation to Backpage and a lot of other things, when FOSTA Sesto was passed a few years ago, the intention was really to fight trafficking. But I think that the the bigger consequence that we've seen, at least so far, it's only been a few years, but the bigger consequence we've seen so far is a lot of people who did use that to consensually screen clients and meet people have now lost that resource and they have to do it either face to face or risk meeting somebody without screening. And I think that creates a lot of danger there too.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It it's tricky to it's tricky to combat sex trafficking without conflating and mixing in consensual sex work, I think, and that's where we run into a lot of issues.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, especially when sex work is illegal generally, or like prostitution is illegal. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The only thing that I had found of yours was kind of talking about, um, I think it was a few years ago where you were talking about legalizing or decriminalizing sex work and its impact on sex trafficking. And I
Hmm.
think you made a really good point then that probably still holds true that if there's a demand for the sex industry, you're going to see a higher level of both
Hmm.
consensual and non-consensual.
Hmm. Although, I mean,
But
again, even if it increases sex trafficking a little bit, maybe that's worth it for all the people that are legally working in that industry to now enjoy like legal protection. So yeah, yeah, it's a
yeah,
difficult one.
yeah, yeah. It seems like there is some benefit there, in my opinion, for the protections and also that it might make it easier to distinguish between the two if the consensual group feels like they aren't at risk of being criminalized,
Hmm. Yeah, potentially, yeah.
possibly.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, all right. Yeah, I guess those were really kind of my big thoughts on this. I know that we were able to touch on my two major questions really quickly, and I know also you have another conversation coming up
Yeah,
pretty
and like,
soon, so I don't want to take up all of your time.
no, you're good. What do you do? Are you like a streamer as well, or?
I've gotten into streaming in the past couple months,
Hmm.
like on Twitch mostly. I kind of entered into the political debate sphere around the time of the Roe v. Wade leak and sort of found my way onto a few different panels that way. It's something that obviously I care a lot about, and it's been neat to get into this world. It's something that I had kind of watched peripherally, but it's been really awesome to actually interact and kind of share ideas with some people.
Wait, are you streaming right now?
No, I'm not streaming right now.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Sorry, because I'm banned on Twitch, so you would get in trouble.
No, I am aware of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm not like the most aware person of all of the goings on of the online political sphere, but I
Hmm.
definitely do know that much.
Gotcha. Um, let's see. Do you okay, I don't know anything about you because I didn't do any research or anything. Sorry. So do you have an
No
OnlyFans?
worries.
I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I've identified myself as a sex worker on these panels and on Twitch and streams and stuff, and um, that is kind of a mix of different areas that I dabble in. I do OnlyFans. That's something that has been really awesome for me for the past couple years.
Hmm.
I actually joined well before COVID, and then it was kind of cool to see it blow up over the pandemic, and there was a lot of success along with that. I've also worked in like adult bookstores or sex shops, right, where they have like a theater attached, like your porn theater. And so that's been kind of a cool experience to see that. I've been into kink and fetish exploration for probably over a decade. Professionally, I dabble in dominatrix activities, and that's definitely probably one of my favorite elements.
So did you have any online presence before starting the OnlyFans thing or no?
I had an Instagram um that was not like huge.
Like
And my
more or
Instagram
less than
still
like
isn't huge.
10,000
Like
followers?
less, yeah,
Okay.
like a smaller Instagram.
So my question is always, when you do OnlyFans, if your only online presence is OnlyFans, how do you promote yourself? Like, where do you find fans from on that? Because it seems like OnlyFans doesn't do a lot of internal promoting, or at least I've heard that. Maybe they do now.
Yeah, you're totally correct. You really do need to bring your own fan base.
Hmm.
And so I think that for me, I don't have a huge Instagram or Twitter following necessarily, but I have a lot of friends who are in the industry and a lot of connections for people who do have big followings and big accounts. And so I've been able to collaborate with them and make connections that way, and that's been really helpful.
Okay.
And then, just general advertising tactics.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, collabing is the way to do it, I guess, if you don't have any other outside fans to bring in, yeah.
yeah, definitely. And then honestly, people from my real life before I got into the adult industry, I used to work in corporate operations management for about 12 years. So that's like revenue retail
Hmm.
management on a large scale. And people who were previously my employees or peers, once they found out what I was doing, they've actually been some of my biggest supporters of my work. So that's kind of an interesting crossover there.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, interesting. You don't care about if people in your real life find out about stuff, then I'm guessing?
No, no, I think that we have really puritanical views around sexuality, just like as a society in general.
Hmm.
And I think that it shouldn't be something that people are ashamed of. I mean, everybody has a body. Most people participate in sexual activity, so I don't see anything inherently shameful there.
You don't get any
Um,
weird, like, people approaching you in your real life looking for something or having an expectation or.
So it's interesting that you bring that up because I was going to say that I actually feel like I had more inappropriate or like creepy approaches when I was working in like a normal 9 to 5 job. Like, as weird as that might sound,
Hmm.
even in like a totally professional, non-sexual setting, people still seem to think it's appropriate to comment on your body, make inappropriate advances, so on and so forth. Like, I experienced a lot of sexual harassment in my 12 years there, and that was kind of something that made me want to consider going in a different direction, really. Like, if I was going to be having this perception of the public, then might as well play into it, right? And be able
Hmm.
to have some control over it, and be able to profit off of it, really.
Sure. If you're going to suffer the drawbacks, why not capitalize on the benefits?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So that's really fun. And because I was in like a management position, people who were previously my employees, that plays pretty well into my whole dominatrix side too.
Sure. I'm guessing once you started doing that, you quit the you quit the corporate job, right?
Oh yeah, I left corporate America in 2017. That same year I had started doing nude modeling, and then I just kind of progressed from there as the years went on.
Hmm. Okay.
So I've done dominatrix activities, obviously. I'm really a switch, so I also do some sub stuff in select opportunities. And then also sensual massage. I don't know if you know what a milking table is, but that's
I've heard of it.
uh,
Yeah. I'm a child of the
kind of a
internet.
fun
I've heard
option
all sorts of
as
things.
well.
But gotcha. Okay. Cool. Well, is there anything else you want to chat about? I mean, like, I have a little bit more time if there's any other topics you want
Um, Honestly, the you really did answer the questions that I had, and I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me again. I know it's been a busy day for you and
to.
kind of a busy week since you had your manifesto release as well.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, do you want to? Do you want to plug your stuff? I guess or.
Yeah, yeah. The best place to follow me really is going to be on Twitter. That's got my link tree in the bio, so you can find all of my other platforms there.
Hmm.
On Twitter, I'm Madam_Genevieve.
Gotcha.
Um, and yeah, from there, follow me on the other platforms as well, guys.
All right. Cool. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the chat. It was quick. If anything else ever comes up, you can always shoot me a message and we can hop on and chat if you ever want to. All right.
Absolutely. I really appreciate your time. Thanks
Yeah.
so much.
No problem. Have a good one.
Okay, bye.